A group of our trainees and one employee and one manager decided that they'd learn something about retail merchandising by going out to the shopping mall and look at the clothes out there. And they took all kinds of notes, and they came back. And they said, you know, those clothes they were all sized, and they were neatly arranged, and they had the latest fashion arrivals right up at the front. They had bargain signs where prices were marked down. They said, we could do that. They said, you know, those clothing stores really smell nice. Ours kind of smells a little musky. And you can't dry clean all these clothes. And so what could we do? And one of the ladies said, well, we could have coffee. Coffee smells good. Another one says, we can do microwave cookies. That smells good. And so every morning, the coffee and the cookies, that aroma greets folks as they come in. Kind of overpowers the old clothing smell. That's a good thing. What we discovered was that nobody likes to be somebody's charity case. Nobody. It diminishes the human spirit. But everybody loves to find a bargain. Universal. Rich or poor, everybody loves to find a bargain. And so the dynamics changed in the community. It became a community resource. Moving from betterment, our clothes closet, to development. A reciprocal relationship with neighbors, where everybody has something of value to bring. Economics is one of God's magical gifts to humanity. It's two people coming to a bargaining table, and each of them brings something to trade, and they look at what each other has, and they strike a bargain. And both go away feeling like they got more than they brought. That's magic. That's the economy. And it thrives where there is free opportunity for dealing and exchange. It gives a balance of power. I don't think that's worth that much. And so there's the ability to negotiate. That feeds into empowerment in the human spirit. I have something of worth. I am something of worth. The Adopt a Family program. The second year we were there, I cut it out. So we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to find a way that will build on the dignity and self-esteem of parents. And so as families started to call in that year at Christmas time, I said, would you give an extra gift this year? And they said, yeah, well, what is that? And I said, would you give the gift of dignity to the dads? And they said, what do you mean? I said, here's how you do it. Go ahead and go shopping. Don't wrap the gifts. Bring those toys and gifts into the family store. We'll set up a whole section. We'll call it the old toy shop. And we'll put somewhere between a wholesale and a yard sale price on it. And we'll invite the community to come in and go shopping. Now, everybody loves to find a bargain. And we'll create some cash flow in that process. And so those that don't have enough money to even buy bargain price toys and gifts for their kids, we can hire them. We can put them to work in the store, stocking shelves, whatever. And they will earn enough money to buy what they know their kids will appreciate on Christmas. Then on Christmas morning, poor parents will have the same joy as the rest of society of seeing their children open the gifts that they have picked out, selected, and purchased with the efforts of their own hands. And there will be pride and dignity in the process of exchange. Now that's a quantum leap for somebody giving a toy to a child versus giving it to a store to be sold. But when they understood the dynamics and how this would be used, we said this gift will keep giving all year long. That money that we use will train some of those parents and move them out into the economic mainstream. That's a good investment, that Christmas gift. The extra gift is this. You know the joy that you get when you see those kids jumping up and down when you bring the gifts, that joy you feel? That's what I want you to give to the parents. Give the gift of joy and dignity to the parents, because kids need effective parents more than they do a toy. Well, it worked. And so we have Pride for Parents every year. And folks bring in, they have toy parties, and the churches collect toys, the schools, we bring them into the store, and it's a joyous time. That store is stocked with all kinds of wonderful things that parents come in and buy, can even put into layaway and buy for their kids. Bringing dignity into the process of exchange. How about our service projects? Well, the resources of volunteers coming in can be a very valuable asset to a community. And if the community decides, here's one thing we really need to do this year. We need to clean up all of those vacant lots and get the rats out of here. Let's do a community cleanup, and we'll organize and get the city to bring in big dumpsters, and boy, we could use some extra help with that. And so if it's community initiated and community led, then the volunteers come in as workers for the community, not coming in, taking charge, telling the community what they need, the problems that they see. No, they come in as a willing workforce to support the visions, the ideas that are generated within the community. It changes the dynamics. We want a community playground. We didn't have all the money we needed for a community playground, and the labor and expertise we didn't have all that we needed. And so we said, I wonder if we could get the community said, I wonder if some of the volunteers would be interested in that. Could we call some? Now that's an entirely different dynamic. When folks are responding to a call from a community that is taking responsibility for itself. It's an entirely different dynamic that when folks from a suburban church say, that's a poor community, there's a huge amount of trash in those streets, we need to come down here on a Saturday morning and clean it up for these folks. Totally different dynamic. The giveaway food program. We got out of business. So it's just too messy. We have in Atlanta, maybe you have from here, food banks where nonprofits, churches can go and purchase food. I don't know, a dime on the dollar or something like that. You buy it so much a pound is what you do. And it's a good system for distributing surplus food. Our pastor asked a group of recipients if they would be interested in having what he described as a food co-op. And they said, well, what's that mean? They said, well, if you put in $2 a week, we can take those $2, we can bundle those and go over to the food bank and buy food and bring it back, and your food dollar will get you about $30 worth of food stuff. be a great investment for you. Well, they were talking about this. The background of that is folks that are coming into the food pantry, and we did a free lunch every Wednesday, a little service and a lunch, and that's where we gave out the food. And we had suburban churches come in with a hot meal, and they rotated it every Wednesday, different church. But you can predict some of the things that happen. After a time, the churches are saying, these are always the same people. Are we really helping them? Are we creating some sort of dependency? And then they say, well, at least they can do is clean up after themselves. You're familiar with this. And so they asked folks to clean up and to serve, and it was a little better. But when 10 folks said, I want to try out that food co-op idea with you, and they put in their $2, pastor went over and bought food, they distributed among themselves, they said, that's a good idea. And so that number grew and expanded. And that number grew to more than 50 folks. But there was a problem. What do you do with those that haven't paid their dues this week? What do you do with that? Well, the pastor, and what do you do when there are only 15 canned hams, and now there's not enough to go around everybody? What do you do with the distribution inequalities here? Well, the pastor was having to make all those decisions, and he didn't like that, and he thought, my goodness, well, that's very simple. These are members of co-op. They should be making these decisions. Elect a buyer who will go over and with your shopping list and buy what you need. Elect a treasurer to collect the money, and you guys decide what the policy ought to be for those that haven't paid this week. And if somebody can't get in for their food distribution, their share, Mr. So-and-so is sick, what do we do about that? Well, maybe we should deliver it to his house. So the shift came from church leadership into community leadership. The co-op started taking control of all of those decisions. And it was empowering. And then if there wasn't enough of the right food to go around, they could make those decisions. Well, you know, last time you got the ham, so this time it's somebody else's turn. The process of food exchange became owned by the recipients. It was their food co-op.